asking for video of that incident, so it's hard.
Bro,
an agent came out and took me into the interrogation room. They started asking me about crazy, like, do you like Donald Trump?
That's American-born Twitch streamer and left-wing political commentator Hasan Piker, recounting a 2-hour encounter with federal agents after he arrived in Chicago from a family vacation in Paris.
I've done is fully protected under the First Amendment.
well, isn't that like, I don't even know why you would say this. Like, you didn't go to jail, you didn't get arrested. Doesn't the fact that you're sitting there right now prove that? They do it randomly at times. Well, here's the thing. Out of the last 5 times I've flown on an airplane,
Cap.
2 or 3 times I've been randomly selected for additional like vetting.
The vanguard will be there, sir.
Yeah, do you want to take a look at this Asmongold versus Hasan? Called out. Hasan, has he been lying? Has he been making this all up? Guys, you know, he talked about getting detained at the airport, but was it just a routine check? Who knows? Let's find out.
Oh God, this is so pathetic. These guys, they claim to love freedom. I hate control. I hate authority. I hate overreach from the government. And then they just turn into little lapdogs for the fascist state immediately.
Yeah, so Asmongold is, as you might know, you might be, lucky enough not to know, but he's really gained a lot of prominence over on the Twitch platform. So much so that he's gone from being like a run-of-the-mill basement-dwelling incel who plays World of Warcraft all the way to the #1 most popular political streamer on the right. And according to Hasan, maybe period. Maybe on the entire internet, regardless of ideology, which is, again, crazy. I was listening to Hasan on the Crystal Kyle interview, and he was talking about how nowadays, Asmongold gets as many clicks on a video in mere minutes or hours that it takes Ben Shapiro days and days to rack up. So this guy has just dwarfed Ben Shapiro as far as popularity goes. He gets way more clicks. And the crazy thing is how not compelling his content is.
Open the schools.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, I'll watch one of these guys' videos and it doesn't even feel like I'm watching actual commentary. It just feels like some loser, pausing the video every once in a while, kind of like, oh, yeah, bro, totally, bro. Oh, they're so cooked, dog. But it's all like in service of fascism. There's never any questioning power. There's never any like standing up to the people in charge of this fucking country, assuming they're Republicans. So yeah, I don't understand it. I really don't. I usually can understand like I get Joe Rogan, I get Theo Vaughn, I get most of the lowest hanging
I can even
fruit.
get Ben Shapiro.
Ben
I think
Shapiro.
he has a pipsqueak voice, but at least I get the debate me, bro. I'm gonna artillery fire you with facts and not let anybody actually get an argument across.
Especially because that was in the time period where you couldn't be any less cool to be a Republican.
Right.
And Ben Shapiro was like, yeah, I might not be cool, but I am smart, and that was kind of the whole thing for a while. It was like, oh, I'm going to be intellectual and like tell you why conservatism is the real answer. And you're just a stupid liberal. Facts over feelings, right? Again, I get it. I can wrap my head around it. Asmongold, I really don't understand his popularity, bro. I think it's a sign of the fucking sick times we're in. The fact that this dude has not only become popular, but maybe the most popular streamer on Twitch.
I think his rise is directly correlated to Ben Shapiro's implosion. You just said it right there. When it was unpopular to be a Republican, when it was uncool to be on the right wing, what did he do? He embraced that. I'm a pipsqueak, but I'm going to debate you into the ground. Facts don't care about your feelings. I'll go to your college campus and make you cry. That made him compelling to people, right? That gave him a niche. That gave him an in. And then young people who he could still mold their minds, because this thing happens when you're like 20 years or younger. The last argument you heard is pretty much your opinion. And he kind of preyed on that and made his empire, right? But now it's actually cool in a lot of circles to be a Republican, to be this like alt-right dickhead, right? So anti-intellectualism is on the rise. Joe Rogan kind of paved the way for that. He was a big trailblazer in the anti-intellectualism. Yeah. Now you have Theo Vaughn, same thing.
But at least they're funny. Again, like at least they come from the world of comedy. They're good at having conversations too. Like, again, you can hate Joe Rogan. You can't deny that the guy's pretty good at like hosting a conversation. This fucking loser, I'm like, I wouldn't even want to go to a D&D tournament that he hosted in his mom's basement.
I think that's true because you're a healthy individual that's been exposed to the world around you, right? But I think if you were a basement dweller, if you were a guy that was just bitter and hateful about the world, if you lived in your own filth, if you didn't shower, you just see this guy as one of us, right? You just see this guy as, oh, he's like me. I can relate to this guy. He's not talking down to me. And I think that is what he's selling.
Whatever happened to self-hatred?
Right.
These fuckers are supposed to want to improve. They're supposed to look at someone who's actually cool and fit and like sexy and be like, I want, like, at least Andrew Tate, you know, he's a piece of fucking garbage, but at least he's like fit and like, you know, gets women or whatever.
Right. But this is a reaction to that. These guys got tired of looking at dudes that they were never going to be, right? They're just gooning all the time. They're fantasizing about the future. To the Rat King or the Lizard King or whatever the fuck you want to call Asmongold, okay, the Cockroach King. He is one of them.
But again, I'm not trying to be mean to the dude and his appearance. Let's take a look and analyze his commentary and ideas, Zach, instead of engaging in this ad hominem nonsense.
Yeah, it's even worse, even more garbage.
Apparently, this is what's crazy. So Hasan, remember how he said he got questioned? It looks like they might be pulling the
A popular
tapes.
streamer with more than 2 million followers says he was detained and questioned at O'Hare Airport for more than 2 hours.
This all happened as he was headed here to speak at the University of Chicago, and now federal workers are pushing back.
Yeah, that prominent Twitch streamer, Hasan Piker, he said that he was pulled over and questioned 4 hours right here at O'Hare Airport because of his political beliefs and his criticism of the current
By the way,
administration.
I can relate to Hasan. I have also been detained and questioned at the exact same airport, the O'Hare Airport. I was probably in the same holding room that Hasan was in. I'm not even kidding, guys. I am familiar with this area of the airport. Why? One time I was in Europe visiting my sister who lived there at the time. I lost my passport in France, so I had to go to the embassy there to get a new passport. But then before returning to America, I found the old passport that I had lost. So when I got to O'Hare, returning to America, I presented them with the old passport stupidly. And they were like, what the fuck? This passport was reported as lost. This passport was reported as missing. Why do you have it? And I explained, but that wasn't enough. So they hauled me at like fucking midnight into this room in the airport where I had to sit for like 4 fucking hours in the middle of the night after getting out for like a 10-hour flight and explain over and over again, promising, swearing up and down that no, I was not a fucking passport thief. I'm not trying to sell it on the black market. It was a simple mistake. But they were hard asses, bro. They were like,
and that was before the Trump regime.
Yeah, this was under Obama, I think.
Could you imagine what it would be like now if that happened?
Or it might have been under the first Trump term, actually. The original one.
Because yeah, it probably would have, because that was college, right?
It wasn't first Trump administration, but that was genuinely terrifying. I was like, what the fuck? I did not mean to make this mistake. I promise you I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm not a criminal. Just a simple mishap, Mr. Officer. But they were pissed. They looked through all my luggage. It was genuinely scary. So I can't imagine going through that, but like times 100 and not even really knowing what you did wrong, right? Because at least I was like, that's my bad. That's my fuck up. I immediately realized what I did when I did it.
Yeah.
And luckily I didn't get actually charged with anything. You know, they eventually let me go. But either way, I can kind of relate to Hasan's experience here.
Anytime you have to get fucked with when you're going through customs more than normal, where the lines are egregious and you've just been on a plane for 10 plus hours, it's miserable.
Yeah, truly.
We're asking for video of that incident, so it's hard.
Bro.
An agent came out and took me into the interrogation room. They started asking me about crazy like, do you like Donald Trump?
That's American-born Twitch streamer and left-wing political commentator Hasan Piker recounting a 2-hour encounter with federal agents after he arrived in Chicago from a family vacation in Paris.
Everything
It was a work engagement in Paris. Okay, so we can already debunk that.
I've done is fully protected under the First Amendment.
Well, isn't that like, I don't even know why you would say this. Like, you didn't go to jail. You didn't get arrested. Doesn't the fact that you're sitting there right now prove that? They do it randomly at times. Well, here's the thing. Out of the last 5 times I've flown on an airplane,
Cap.
2 or 3 times I've been randomly selected for additional like vetting. Am I getting racially
100% no, you haven't.
Yeah, that's such bullshit. Unless they're profiling you based off how disgusting you look or something. But like, no, I haven't been randomly stopped at the airport. I think that's only happened to me 1 time in my entire life. So this guy's, I mean, that's crazy to say 2 or 3 out of the last 5 times he's flown, they stop him. And also, even if they do stop you, which again has happened to me one time when I was a kid, they actually stopped me and looked through my luggage. It doesn't take fucking 2 hours. It takes like 30 minutes at most. So clearly that's not what is happening to his son.
Oh yeah, I had toothpaste in my luggage when we were flying together not too long ago. They stopped me for that. And one time I did get frisked because I had it was really, really freaking cold in Boston. And I was flying back and I put on 2 pairs of sweatpants, but I didn't think about how I tied the other one. And I guess it had like little metal, things on the end. It was like Adidas sweatpants or whatever. And so I'm in Boston Airport, Boston Logan, and these motherfuckers were acting like 9/11 was yesterday. Okay, I swear to God. And so they pull me over, and in the middle of all of these things, this big ass Hawaiian dude is like patting down my junk and shit. So I have been violated in the airport, but there's no way 2 to 3 out of the last 5 times you've flown it happens to you. Bullshit.
Also, that does sound like it was technically your fault.
It was both times they were my fault.
Right. That's not what happened to Hasan. It's not like, oops, I left a bottle of fucking Pepsi in my luggage and now the beeper's going off as it goes through the x-ray. Like, that's not even what happened.
Yeah.
They literally realized who he was and decided to question him. That would be like, and again, yeah, they did let him go. He's like, oh, they let him go, so what's it even matter? Okay, well, do you want to spend the afternoon talking to FBI agents who come knock down your fucking door and interrogate you when AOC is the president? You know what I'm saying? In 4 years, do you want to sit here and have fucking AOC FBI agents come down and say, do you support the Madam President, sir? What's your thoughts about, like, of course you would recognize that as a deeply dystopian act. But because they let him go, it's no big deal.
Profiled as like a drug dealer or something? I mean,
none of these questions are actually valid questions to ask.
A Homeland Security official acknowledged the incident, telling us, quote, "This is nothing but lying for likes." Claims that his political beliefs triggered the inspection are baseless. Our officers are following the law, not agendas.
Yeah, the law is bullshit. That's what we're saying. That was the whole point. They were following the law. That was horseshit.
Also, they're not following the fucking law in many documented instances. You know what I'm saying? Under the Trump administration. No, they're fucking not following the law.
Oh, well, what I would say is Donald Trump might have given them the order to do it, but those orders would be against the law. Either way,
Yeah.
What I'm saying is that even if they are following fucking orders, those orders are problematic and shouldn't be fucking tolerated by anybody. That order would be in violation of Hasan's rights for the exact reason that you gave. Even if they let him go, you shouldn't be shaken down by the police. The police do not just have the right to randomly detain you. They have to fucking provide a warrant. They have to have probable cause. They don't have a warrant to detain you. They can probable cause detain you. But they have to at least have probable cause. No probable cause was given. Okay? They literally just had this guy into a room so they could interrogate him, maybe because he was a famous Twitch streamer. Other case scenario, oh, they saw a 6-foot Muslim guy. They were like, let's talk to him. Either way, not a good look.
Yeah. Yeah. And also, like, these are Department of Homeland Security people. Like, don't you have what if Hasan had just said, I'm not talking? Like, you have the right to plead the fifth. What if he had just said, I'm not answering your stupid questions. I want a lawyer. Like, then what would have happened?
Stay in jail.
Probably.
Yeah.
But it's like, this is crazy. I mean, you're literally interrogating people. And I mean, that's crazy. I mean, maybe you don't have those rights if you're in an airport. Maybe that was a Patriot Act thing. Who knows? But I wouldn't be.
And this is from the Department of Homeland Security. Let's see the tapes. Straight up, like, I actually think that if he made this up, it will be worse than the debate.
Questions about what my opinions were on Donald Trump. I told him I don't like Donald Trump. After that, he asked me about my opinion on Israel and my opinion on what's going on in Gaza.
I mean, that's insane. I can't imagine having to answer questions like that.
Might want to start damage control earlier versus later. Would be wild
if this happens to me, I'm going to be honest, guys. I'm going to say I actually love Donald Trump. I love Israel. And everything I say on the Vanguard is all a fucking performance art ruse. So none of that.
Gavin's going to start stealing my bit about performance art.
Yeah, exactly. Very sophisticated performance art that I've been pulling on all these ignorant rubes out there on YouTube, sir. But you know me, I love the president. And I'll even wear a MAGA hat the next time we're at the airport just to have that extra credibility.
There you go. Gavin's prepared to sell you all down the river for his own ass. His own hide is more important than the cause.
Flat up made some shit out. Yeah. Can't wait. Oh my God.
Yeah, he's basically implying that Hasan made it all up, which there's no evidence for other than the Homeland Security being like, we were following orders and doing our job. It's like, no shit, they're going to say that no matter what happens, and they're going to fucking lie.
Yup, 100%. Yeah, it's funny that Asmongold's even like branding this as some gotcha. Like, see, Hasan lied, and then his only proof that Hasan lied is a statement from the Homeland Security who's responsible for the thing. Like, obviously, they're going to fucking lie. You've ever read a police, briefing where they explain away why they murdered someone or did something they weren't supposed to do? Yeah, they're going to fucking protect themselves. Obviously, now, if the Homeland Security officers literally have like body cam footage of this interrogation of Hasan and say they release it and say it is just like, 5 minutes of them being like, this is a routine check, Mr. Piker. Let's look through your backpack to make sure you don't have a bomb in there. And then they let him go. Like, obviously, yeah, that would be crazy. That would be Hasan exposed in a lie. That has not happened. Nothing even close to that has happened.
Yeah, we have absolutely no reason to deny or question or be skeptical anything that Hasan has said, right?
Yeah.
We never trust the pigs. Never in your life should you ever trust the pigs. Nobody has a longer, deeper track record of lying than the government and law enforcement. So law enforcement from the government, you think those motherfuckers are telling you the truth? Not a chance in the world. Okay, I'm going to need to see some real ass receipts. And yeah, release the tapes because I believe Hasan. I think that this is a guy that's got way too much going for him to ever make something up like this. This guy doesn't need a Jussie Smollett moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. That would be crazy. Trust me, that would be crazy if Hasan just made all that up. Again, I totally believe Hasan. But yeah, obviously Asmongold's not wrong. If it did turn out to all be a lie, then yeah, that would be real bad for Hasan Piker. Obviously, though, he's not that stupid. Like, I think Hasan and most people know that if they were to lie in such a blatant way about something that is on record of happening, that yeah, that eventually they would just release the evidence to prove him wrong. But they're not going to do that.
Not a fucking idiot.
What?
Oh, he's just not a fucking idiot. Like, of course.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And of course they're not, but they're not going to release the footage because it wouldn't prove him wrong. It would prove him exactly fucking correct. At least that's my opinion. We'll see. Let's hope it gets released because that would be awesome. I actually kind of want to, look through that footage like JCS style, the interrogation room, see how he's responding, see his psychology.
Yeah, I feel like that should be public record if they're going to do that to people.
Look out the door if you hear an ambulance. The Vanguard will be there, sir. The Vanguard will be there, sir. The Vanguard will be there, sir. The Vanguard will be there. Be there.